Okay, today I want to show you the tying of a Claret Bumble. And although this fly is of probably greater worth to still water anglers, particularly Irish loch fishermen, it is still a very good fly for sea trout at night on our rivers. Now, one of the reasons I'm showing you this fly is I've just tied some up with a friend of mine who is going to fish Loch Mask and Loch Corrib in Ireland, and I wouldn't normally show you this fly because it's not all that popular around South Wales and our rivers, but it gives me the opportunity of showing you how to tie on this blue jay front hackle here. It's a wound collar hackle, and there are various ways of putting it on. Now, the jay feather is a beautiful feather, and this is a photograph of the jay. Can you see that? And can you see these blue feathers on its wing? They're not neck feathers or body feathers. They're feathers that are from the wing of the jay, the beautiful jay, which is from the crow family. Now, it is a real nice fly. It's normally fished, if you're fishing an Irish loch, it would be on a bob fly, which is the one nearest the rod, on a team of 3 or 4. We don't do that type of fishing in our rivers around here, but I just want to, it gives me the opportunity of showing you how I tie this very attractive blue hackle on the front. Now, there are various ways of doing it. The jay feather is, it's got a thickish stalk, and this is the feather. Usually one side of it is blue like this, and the other side is grey, which we don't want that grey part really, and the back is also grey. So I'm hoping to show you how to tie it where we'll end up displaying the attractive part of the feather as I tie the fly. Okay, now I have waxed the silk, and the hook I'm going to show you do it on is a Camazan B180, which is actually a low water salmon hook, and apparently this is a sort of size they use for fishing these lochs in Ireland. I have fished some rivers in Ireland, but I've never fished the Irish lochs. It's tremendous fishing apparently, and they get some very good mayfly hatches, etc. there. Now, the tail is the tippet feather from the back of the neck of the golden pheasant. Attractive feather, you've seen me use it a bit. I like it quite a bit. So I'm going to nip off a few. You can see it's fairly level. So I just nip off a couple of the fibres that we're going to use, like this. Bend them so the nice parts are showing, and I tie them in like this. Keeping a bit of pressure on the tail towards me. It's a bit too long, that tail, a bit too long for my liking. So I'm going to shorten it to about there. It's more like it. It's more like it. I'll put a wind under there just to try to keep it level. Okay, I'm going to remove the surplus here, and I cut this at an angle. That's the tail. Now I'm going to put in a wire rib. I'm going to use 2 ribs on this fly. The wire rib is not very noticeable because it's there just to protect the fly, to protect the hackles. And the hackles I'm going to use, I put 2 hackles. The tying on this fly is a claret type of hackle like this, and a black wound together. I've taken a few off, ready to tie them in. This is the black, and this is the claret. Now, I tie them in from the back end which not many people tend to do, but that's the way I tend to do it. Now I've got them both together there, and I tie them in well because I don't want them to break after when I've got the body on. Just nip off some of this surplus before I tie it down a bit neater. Okay, tie this down nice and tight, nice and firm. Very often with a palmered hackle, they are palmered on this fly, they're tied in at the head, wound down to the tail. But on this one, the way I tend to do it is a little bit different. You can decide which way you want to do it. I do it both ways, but my friend was here with me tying this fly, and this is the way he likes it. So I'm just sticking to his for a moment. Right, I'm going to use some eye stub. It's a claret eye stub. It's called rust, but it's a claret type with a sparkle in it, which is makes a good body. The silk is pretty well waxed. I'm going to tie this in here, and then I'm going to put on another rib before I start to wind it. That's the claret body on, and now I'm going to put on a thicker rib. That's the body on. Now I'm going to rib it. I'm going to rib it the same way, which is a bit unusual because we normally counterwind, but with this type of body I quite like the rib to be tucked in and giving a good bit of segmentation. Okay, now the two hackles. Here they go. I'm going to wind these what we call Palmer fashion. Most of you know it. What we do, we double the hackle, we draw them back like this to double it, and wind it like this. These hackles are the attraction in this fly because they go on a bob and sort of bob along the surface, so I'm told. You see, I'm keeping tension on both of them so they come out together. Up to there. Okay, now I'm going to seal them down, secure them like that, nip off the waist. Okay, that's the body Palmer hackle, and what I do now is I wind through with the wire, waggling it, trying not to tie down too many of the fibres. It's not easy. Very often take some down, but it doesn't matter too much. Still enough of the hackles there to have the effect that you want with this fly. Now I'm going to tie down the wire rib nice and firm. Agitate it like this until it snaps off. That way you won't have a little spike. Now we come to the J hackles, which is one of the reasons why I want to demonstrate this fly in particular. Okay, the first hackle I pick up like this. I've taken them out of the wing, and you'll see the hackle here. Okay, first of all, I tear off all the grey, the stuff we don't need. Now you'll see this has got quite a thick stalk. Tearing off all of it, most of it on this side. There's a bit of blue up the top which I which will remain. And because it's got a thick stalk, I will also take off some of the bottom. I'm going to put 2 hackles on. So I'm going to tie it on like this. Now, by taking off some of both sides, I'm getting into a thinner part of the stalk. But it is a thick stalk and it can cause some problems. It can make it bulky if you're not careful. Right, I'm going to remove that thick stalk. I'm going to bring my silk forward a bit and I'm going to wind this hackle. Now, if we didn't do it like this, you'd be showing too much of the grey. By doing it this way, I'm showing all the blue. And because I'm going to put 2 on, that's all I'm going to tie on this one for the moment. Now, Davy Wooten, very expert and experienced fly tyer, came to our club and gave us a demonstration one day. And what he does is he strips off the hackles off one side, the blue ones, and ties them on around the eye so they're all poking forward like an inside-out umbrella. And then when he does that at the start of the fly. Then when he finished, he draws them back. Now that's a good way of doing it, but you do get a mixture of the grey at the back and the blue at the front. And I'm trying to do this so that we get the blue all the time. The nice blue showing. Okay, now then, back to this hackle. This time I'm tearing off the same thing, tearing off the blue like this. I'm not going to worry much about the bottom this time because I'm going to tie this one in by the tip. By tying it in by the tip, which can be a bit brittle, I'm just going to use the nice blue hackles all the time, hopefully anyway. Right, let's tie these in, tie it like this, nice and firm, and I'll nip off this little bit of surplus here, which I hope to be covering shortly. Right, I'll take my silk up to the eye and I'll wind this hackle now, which I've tied in by the tip. So the first one in by the stalk, the second one in by the tip. And this way we're constantly showing the attractive blue of the hackle. And only using the thinner part of the stalk. Now I'm getting to the thick part, so I'm going to finish off. The problem with the thick part, it just gives that big thick head. Doing it this way, the thick stalk is sort of hidden underneath and out of the way, and it's not quite so visible. Okay, now before I go any further, I'm going to secure this hackle. And have a look at things. Right, now let me just look my side. Yeah, you see we got plenty of the blue showing. That's it. That was what I was aiming to do. So that is the completed fly. We've got quite a wide gold rib in there, showing up for attraction, and we've got a thin wire rib, which is there to protect the 2 body hackles. Okay, I've just done a whip finish. I'm going to draw it up like that. Cut the silk as usual, and varnish the head. Now just before I varnish the head, I will try to show you the fly, Can you see the blue of this hackle, which is the attractive part of the fly? It's used quite a bit in fly tying. Now, if I'd done it the way Davy Wooten does it, and I don't want to criticise him, he's an absolute expert fly tyer, far better than me. It's a good idea of his. Put the hackles on, strip them off. He would do it like this. He'd get the feather, strip them all off, and put them on in bunches around the eye of the hook, and then bend them back afterwards. When you do that, you get a mixture of the blue and the grey. Now, this is the Claret Bumble. It's really a still water fly for the lochs of Ireland. Well, that's where it's very popular. So my friend was going to fish Loch Corrib and Loch Mask, and he thinks it's a fantastic fly for that. I've not used it very much, but I do know it is useful for sea trout. And that hackle, that blue jay hackle, does have some special attraction for trout. Okay, that's our fly completed. Beautiful bob fly, very attractive. The Palmer body hackles give it floatability. It bobs along the surface and the trout take it. Okay, thank you for watching that. That's great.